Okay, so let's do a brief review of chapters 16 through 19 of the Scarlet Letter. That's about 30 pages, 173 to 203, that you've been given days to read. I really hope you did it, because I'm not giving you in this video everything that will be on the quiz. I'm going to expect you to analyze what I'm discussing in this summary and understand it. So chapter 16 is called A Forest Walk. So we have left off with the fact that Hester Prynne has resolved that she is going to tell Dimmesdale that Chillingworth is her husband, or was her husband, and Dimmesdale needs to get as far away from him as possible. And Hester learns that Dimmesdale went to make a prayer with the Indian converts, and he would be walking back through the woods tomorrow afternoon. And she thinks, you know what, I'm going to wait for him in the woods so that we can talk, which is kind of stalkerish and creepy, but okay, let's just go with it. So she waits with Pearl in the woods, and Pearl notices there's some light and dark imagery in this chapter. Pearl notices that the sun will not shine on Hester. The sun, okay, that is really creepy, y'all, that we were just talking about this and the automatic lights in my room turned off. Like, okay, weird, but okay. Here we go. Pearl says, bottom of 174. Mother, said little Pearl, the sunshine does not love you. It runs away and hides itself because it is afraid of something on your bosom. Now see, there it is playing a good way off. Stand you here, let me run and catch it. I am but a child. It will not flee from me. I wear nothing on my bosom yet. Again, Pearl just shows this amazing kind of perception ability that is way beyond that of a 7-year-old. She says, the sunshine, the light, which is a symbol of goodness, does not love you, Mom. The sun will not shine on you, which represents that Hester has sinned in a way that the light can't ever touch her. In the eyes of her culture, she can't ever be good. And Pearl says, I'm but a child. The sun will shine on me, because she hasn't committed a massive sin yet. She says, I haven't done anything yet where I'd have to wear a letter, so the sun will shine on me. Wow, amazing. The light and dark imagery in this chapter. And there's more, but that's just one example. So they are walking, and they sit and rest in the woods, and she and Pearl have a talk about spiritual issues, and Pearl runs by the brook, and she's having a good time. Just basically a few pages describing that. And then they see Dimmesdale, okay? And in the distance, they see him. They've had this large spiritual conversation, and Dimmesdale's coming through the woods, and they are about to talk. Flip to chapter 17. So Hester cries out to him and says, Arthur, can you please come over here? I need to talk to you. So this is the first time that they have spoken alone in 7 years. This is the father of her child. This is a very emotional chapter. This is very key and crucial. And Hester, he says, Hester, have you found peace? Have you found the emotional peace? Are you able to live with what we've done? And she just kind of smiled, and she looked down at her Scarlet Letter, and she says, have you? Have you been able to find peace? He says, no, I've found nothing but despair. And he acknowledges to her, I am such a hypocrite. I take God's gifts, and I live a life of comfort, and I'm loved by the village, but I know that I am an equal sinner to you. And he acknowledges, I'm not able to find peace. And she finally reveals to him, you have an enemy under your roof. And she's trying to tell him without telling him, okay, Chillingworth, I don't think you should be hanging out with him. I don't think this is good. And he seems to not get it. He says, what are you talking about? No, Chillingworth has been good to me. He is taking care of me. And she says at the bottom of 184, the old man, the physician, he whom they call Roger Chillingworth, he was my husband. And he's just completely shocked by this. For a moment, he doesn't say anything. It says, never was there a fiercer frown than Hester now encountered. So he just stands there and frowns. And eventually he just sat down on the ground, and he buried his face in his hands. He said, I should have known. He said, it was obvious to me that he had an evilness inside him, like that he's been trying to do this, and I shouldn't have known. And he said, "But you should have told me, Hester." He says, woman, you are accountable for this. I cannot forgive you." And she said, "You have to forgive me." And Hester flings herself on the ground beside him and said, "Let God punish me, but you forgive me," showing that in some ways Hester puts Dimmesdale above God. She cares about his forgiveness more than God's. And it says, with sudden and desperate tenderness, she threw her arms around him and pressed his head against her bosom, little caring through his cheek rested on the scarlet letter. So his face is resting on the letter. And she said, all the world had frowned on her. For 7 long years had it frowned upon this lonely woman, and still she bore it all. But the frown of this pale, weak, sinful, and sorrow-stricken man was that Hester could not bear and live. So Hawthorne is saying Hester has dealt with betrayal and hatred and people not liking her for the past 7 years, and for the most part she's been okay. But Dimmesdale's lack of forgiveness she can't take, because she truly does love him and care for him. And they talk and they're kind of okay, and Dimmesdale shows his true colors yet again at the bottom of 186 when he says, "Hester, here is a new horror. Roger Chillingworth knows your purpose to reveal his true character. Will he continue then to keep our secret?" He's worried about himself. All of a sudden he thinks, oh man, he knows that she knows that I know that we all know. And his concern is not, how is this going to affect our child? How is this going to affect you, Hester? He said, how is this going to affect me? Is he going to tell the truth and bother me? So this again shows Dimmesdale is not yet the man that he needs to be. He has not figured out the truth yet of what it should be, that he should just tell the truth. And Hester, she loves him so much, she says, no, I'll take care of you, don't worry. We'll try to figure out the truth, and if he says that, I'm going to deny it. No one will believe it. And they agree that they are going to run away together. He says, Hester, thou tellest of running a race to a man whose knees are tottering beneath him. I must die here. There is not strength or courage in this wide, strange, difficult world alone. He basically says, just leave me alone. I don't want to deal with you. Let's not worry about it. So let's go to chapter 18. It's called A Flood of Sunshine. So something positive occurs in chapter 18. They're basically discussing the shame, despair, and solitude that they have both been through over the past few years. And if we keep flipping to page 192, neither can I any longer live without her companionship, so powerful is she to sustain, so tender to soothe. O thou to whom I dare not lift my eyes, wilt thou yet pardon me? And they agree, Hester and Dimmesdale, that they are going to run away together. They're going to get on a ship, they're going to leave, and they are going to start a new life together. And Hester says, we will go together. We're going to start a new life together. And finally, they feel relief. We can be together. We've loved each other. I know you guys have differing opinions on this idea. And she says, let us not look back. The past is gone. Why should we linger on it? We're going to start over. We're going to start a new life. Pearl's our child. We're going to start a family, pretend that we're married in a new place. And Hester feels so free in that moment that for the first time in 7 years, she rips the scarlet letter off and she throws it on the ground and says, I'm done with this. But then when they go to leave the forest, she puts it back on, which shows that it really hasn't left her at all. So then we have the child at the brookside. Hester has put back on her letter, but they haven't yet left the forest yet. And Hester says, you will love her dearly. Do you not think she's beautiful? See with what natural skill she has made these simple flowers adorn her. So it's kind of sad. Hester's like, you're going to love your child so much. You're finally going to get to spend time with her and see how great she is. And Dimmesdale said, yeah, it'll be great. I'm going to love to hang out with her. And they spend time together, and Hester shares that Pearl's kind of emotional and impulsive, but she's overall a good child. And at the end, Pearl is again angered by the fact that Dimmesdale doesn't talk to her outside of the forest and outside of at night on the scaffold, that they don't get to spend time together. And Pearl says, will he always keep his hand over his heart about Dimmesdale? Her mother says, "Foolish child, what a question is that? Come and ask his blessing." But the child, Pearl's not going to have it. She said, "I gave you a chance back at the governor's house when I let you kiss my forehead and put my hand on your face. I gave you a chance then. I gave you a chance at the scaffold to be my father and tell everyone who you really were. And I gave you a chance yet again, now here in the forest, that you're going to walk out of the forest with us and tell everyone the truth." And she says, "If you're not going to do that, then I don't want anything to do with you." And I say, "You go, girl. Don't let him be your friend or your father behind everyone else's back and treat you like you don't exist in the village. That's not right." And Pearl says, "Will he love us? Will he go back with us, hand in hand, we three together into the town?" And her mom says, "Not right now." And Pearl says, "Well then, I'm done with you." So that's chapter 19. Sorry if that was a little scattered. Feel free to read Spark Notes and look back at the text and the questions. If you have any other questions, then you can email me at any time.